Hey friends, I'm Amy and today we're heading to Chili's for some of their epic peanut butter cup cheesecake with Reese's peanut butter cups on top. It's possibly one of my favorite things on their menu, although I do really love their Cajun pasta. Anyway, so chocolate and peanut butter. This chocolate peanut butter cheesecake is, well, epic, really is the only word I can think of. And even though I tend to prefer fruity top cheesecakes, this one is so rich and creamy and peanut buttery that it's impossible not to adore it. So let's get cooking. To start, preheat the oven to 375 degrees and make sure the rack is in the middle position. Also, right up front, it's best to use a springform pan for this, and mine is a 9-inch pan. You can use a regular 9-inch pie pan, but the amount of filling this recipe makes means you'll need 2 pie pans, or you will very, very quickly overflow your pan. Rub a little cold butter on the bottom of your springform pan, and then place in some parchment paper. Then rub a little more butter all over the parchment paper. So the whole parchment butter thing, it's not strictly necessary, but it's gonna make it so much easier to get the cheesecake off the pan later. Now for the crust, and the first thing we need is Oreo cookies. We need 3 cookies with the filling removed, so 6 total Oreo cookie wafers. And don't forget, enjoy that filling. Now to the food processor. Add in 7 total sheets of graham crackers. 7 sheets will give you right about 1 cup of graham cracker crumbles, which is what we need for the crust. We also want our 6 Oreo wafers in there too. Then blitz these up until you have graham cracker and Oreo cookie crumbs instead of graham crackers and Oreo cookies. Dump the crumbles in a bowl and pour in 1/3 cup of melted butter. Stir the butter into the crumbles with a fork or a spatula and break apart any big clumps that try to form until you have a gravelly looking mix of buttery crumbs. Pour all this into the springform pan and press it into the bottom until you have an even layer the whole way around, but just on the bottom though. This crust does not go up the sides of the pan. Pop this in the oven and bake it for 6 to 8 minutes. I went right in the middle with 7 minutes and that ended up being perfect. You'll want the edges to just start showing just a little browning. Set this to the side so it can cool completely, but don't turn off the oven. Now for the filling. You can use a large bowl and a hand mixer, or you can use a stand mixer, but you need a big bowl. Add in 3, yes, 3, 8-ounce blocks of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of sour cream, 3 eggs, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Beat all of this together until everything is nice and smooth and creamy. There is a lot of stuff in there though, so it may take a minute and you may need to scrape down the sides if the cream cheese and the sour cream try to climb up the bowl. Just keep going until the mixture looks sort of like melted vanilla ice cream. Now grab a smaller bowl and we need to measure out 1 cup of this cream cheese mixture. Pour this cup of filling into the smaller bowl and set the large bowl to the side for now. Add a 1/4 cup of chocolate syrup to the 1 cup of filling we separated and stir that together until the syrup is fully incorporated. Set this bowl to the side as well, and our fillings are done. When the crust is fully cooled, and for me this was like 15, maybe 20 minutes, we're gonna spread a 1/4 cup of smooth peanut butter on the crust. I'm using Jif because we want a peanut butter that is creamy but not oily. This crust will soak up an oily peanut butter and then we will have an oily, soggy crust. But since Jif is pretty thick, I also melted it a little in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds on half power, so it's much more runny and it spreads easily. Spread it on the crust and leave about 1 inch around the edges. Even with the warmed, runnier peanut butter though, this crust is still really fragile, so be careful not to dig into the crust while you're spreading. I only did that once, so we're good. Now for the filling. Gently pour the larger bowl of filling on top of the peanut butter. You'll want to move around the bowl as you pour so it doesn't displace that runny peanut butter too much in one spot. When all the filling in the large bowl is in the pan, gently tap the pan on the counter and tap the sides to make air bubbles rise to the top and out of the filling. Now take the chocolate filling and gently pour or spoon it on top of the regular filling. You can see here that it wants to sink, so just be gentle and move the smaller bowl around so you have chocolate filling all over the top. It also doesn't have to be the whole way to the edges either, just so all that chocolate filling ends up on there. Last, use a knife to create some swirls and to marble the chocolate filling into the regular filling. Again, make sure not to dig the whole way down to the bottom and accidentally get some of that peanut butter layer. When you have some nice swirls like this, turn the oven heat down to 350 and bake the cheesecake for 70 to 80 minutes or until it's set in the center. It should be a little jiggly, but you won't see any liquid-like waves when you tap the side or you lightly jiggle the pan. You may also see the top moving a little like it's still bubbling in there, and it is, so be very careful because this is cheesy, sugary lava at this point. Set the cheesecake to the side and let it cool completely, like 100% completely, which could take 2-3 hours even. When my cheesecake was completely cool, and I popped it in the fridge overnight and finished it on day 2 so the filling was completely set, you can see how much the cheesecake darkened as it cooled, and I was worried that I may have overcooked it, but it turned out beautifully, so don't worry. Remove the ring from the springform pan, and you may need to gently run a knife around the side if your cheesesteak tries to stick a little. Carefully move the cheesecake to a plate, and you can see here how easily it came off that buttered parchment. Set the cheesecake to the side, and now let's get our toppings. Measure out 1 cup of hot fudge topping and melt it either in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds at 50% power or over a double boiler on the stove until it's nice and pourable and kind of runny. Pour it all over the top of the cheesecake, starting with the sides so it runs down and looks really cool. Then fill in the middle and spread it so none of the top of the cheesecake is visible and it's completely covered in that fudgy topping. And our last ingredient, possibly the most important, at least for me, is 4 Reese's peanut butter cups. We want to chop up the peanut butter cups, but not evenly, like equal pie pieces or anything. We want a rough, uneven chop, so all the pieces are like different shapes and sizes and they don't look uniform, almost like we just broke them up randomly. Then add the chopped up peanut butter cup pieces to the top of the cheesecake. Now you can just put them in a pile in the middle, but I like to sprinkle them all around so every piece has a scattering of peanut butter cups. Also, don't forget the crumbs either. Scrape up those peanut butter cup crumbs with a bench scraper or a spatula and sprinkle those on top of the pie too. Those are going to fill in the spaces between those bigger chunks and they make the pie just look so delightful and pretty. Okay, you can eat this right now with the really runny hot fudge topping, or you can pop it back in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour to let it set back up again. I chilled mine just so it wouldn't be quite so messy to cut into. But either way, check out that beautiful, fully set chocolate peanut butter cheesecake with a graham cracker Oreo crust. It's so beautiful. This cheesecake is so good, it's almost ridiculous. It tastes just like at the restaurant with its creamy, chocolatey, peanut buttery goodness. It's so rich, I can't even eat a whole slice, but that's probably a good thing because if it wasn't, I might eat like half this monster by myself. But yeah, wow, this is an epic pie. Absolute chocolate and peanut butter heaven. I think the only way it could be better is if I drizzled some caramel on it, but I probably should not be giving myself any more ideas. Okay, so now for the money. Chili's cuts their pie into 8 slices and charges $9.29 for each slice, so almost $75 for one pie, before tax, tip, fees, all of that nonsense. I spent just over $18 on all of the ingredients to make this pie, which is around $2.25 per slice, and is a savings of almost $57. That is absolutely insane. You can't even buy 2 slices at the restaurant for the amount I paid to make the entire thing. So yeah, I'm never paying almost $10 a slice, ever again. Although, I think I may have sabotaged myself because, yes, making this had some steps, but it was still really easy to put together. This might just be another recipe I gotta hide from myself, so I do not make this way more often than I should. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying making all our favorite restaurant foods at home. I'm loving this, and I'm learning that the food at the restaurants is actually really easy to make at home. Most of it is really common ingredients, none have been very difficult to make, and every single one has tasted so much better than what I could buy. Plus, no insane markups, tips, fees, traffic, none of that craziness. Just really good food. Stay tuned every Sunday for more comforting and cozy home-cooked meals, treats, snacks. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next Wednesday for some more better at-home copycat cooking. Bye!